All right, welcome back. Let's not waste any time and get right to our panel. Daniela Diaz, congressional reporter for Notice. Joel Payne, a Democratic strategist who served as the senior aide to the Hillary for America campaign and served as press secretary for former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Mark Bednar, a Republican strategist and the former head of communications for the former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. So, Daniela, let's start where we began our show, and that's with the dismissal of both the criminal indictments against James Comey and Letitia James. Is this a significant blow for the president? Major blow for the president. I mean, even the administration is still saying that they plan to continue these efforts. Caroline Leavitt saying just momentarily, this is not over. We're planning to continue fighting this. But it's very significant that an effort from this prosecutor was dismissed by another judge, because it is a clear effort from the administration to fight back on, people who have opposed Trump's administration, and it's being dismissed. So it's unclear whether any other efforts that we're seeing from the president, even what we saw today that the Pentagon is investigating Senator Mark Kelly for a separate issue that you were talking about early on in the show. This is a continuing pattern that we're seeing from the Trump administration, and it's unclear where they can really hold the line on what their efforts for their people that oppose their politics. Right. And Mark, what's significant about Halligan's appointment is that it went outside of Congress, right? She was appointed to this job without congressional input. This isn't the first Trump-appointed U.S. attorney whose appointment's been deemed unlawfully appointed. Does the White House need to change their strategy here? And should they be going with U.S. attorneys that can actually be confirmed by the United States Senate? Well, ultimately, you talk to Republicans on the Hill or the administration, there are still major questions. Did Letitia James, did she conduct mortgage fraud? Did James Comey lie to Congress? These are reasonable questions that a lot of Republicans, a lot of American citizens are concerned about. And so if there's procedural fouls or procedural mistakes or kind of confusion here or there, that does not address the underlying questions about the legality of their argument. But so wouldn't the solution to that then, finding a U.S. attorney that believes it should be investigated and have that U.S. attorney confirmed by the Senate? Well, we'll see how DOJ approaches with the next steps here, whether the appeal process, how they go about it. But the underlying questions about these two potential defendants, those still remain. Okay, so Joel, how serious do Democrats or just people who are the president's political enemies need to take these threats? It seems pretty clear that the president just isn't going to give up on this if he has a couple of legal setbacks. Oh, sure. They're going to be relentless. They're going to continue to weaponize government as they have been. And look, it's interesting. If Donald Trump's whole beef here is, I was targeted with prosecution that was not serious and that was pretty arbitrary, to turn around and do that to other folks actually doesn't seem like he actually is applying the political lesson that he should have learned. Second thing, anything Donald Trump is doing to weaponize government, to politically persecute people, isn't making life cheaper, isn't making life more affordable for people, isn't attacking the core issues that people are actually responding to when anytime anyone asks anything related to public opinion in the country right Mark, now. Nobody wants them to focus. I'd like your take on that. Are Republicans focusing on the wrong things, especially ahead of what is going to be a very competitive midterm election? Well, what the outcome of the legal issues with James and Comey, that's not going to decide the midterm elections. That's not going to decide who controls Congress. It's going to be all about the economy. And of course, once one big beautiful bill results kind of are set into place for the course of the next year, that's when Republicans can really regain the high ground on the economy. Wages are outpacing inflation. That's a good thing as far as money coming back to the coffers of the United States, reshoring of jobs. This is going to be really important for the Republican message going forward. Okay, let's shift gears, Daniela, and talk about the last 48 hours where we saw a gracious mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani, in the Oval Office, and then a more combative mayor-elect Mamdani with Kristen Welker on Sunday. Take a listen to this exchange. So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do?
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment.
Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table.
I think a lot of people were shaking their heads about the way that those two men were so agreeable in the White House. Is there a part of Donald Trump that appreciates how direct Mamdani is? And can Mamdani continue to work with this White House while not upsetting his base at the same time?
I mean, I think we can all agree that what we witnessed on Friday was a very charmed Donald Trump. I mean, he recognized who Mamdani is and his charisma, clearly someone who is a good speaker, great for TV. Those are all things Trump very much appreciates and understands. He even was okay with Mamdani calling him a fascist, saying, interrupting, go ahead, you can go ahead and say it. And it's obviously we were going to see that just one meeting with the president was not going to change the mayor-elect's opinion of the president. But it's clear when he was going into this meeting, he said, I'm just here to really deliver on New Yorkers. Trump is a New Yorker. He probably understands that. It's still such a mind-boggling meeting what we witnessed, but we all had our predictions for how that was going to turn out, and that was certainly one of mine.
But Joel, there is a difference between campaigning and governing, right? Was this the mayor-elect and the president recognizing that they're going to have to govern together on some level?
I think these are two iconoclasts who were sizing each other up and who were seeing a lot of, honestly, similar qualities in each other. Donald Trump, independent political power base, separate of the establishment of his party. Zohran Mamdani, independent political power base, separate of the establishment of his party. Many other things that these two men share in common beyond the obvious, right? And I actually think it's not too surprising to me that Donald Trump was actually able to see some things about Zohran Mamdani that he admired. I think where Mamdani will be tested here is not on all the rhetoric politically that he's been able to use in his campaign and up till now, but how he's going to govern. And part of his strategy was to figure out, how can I govern effectively with Donald Trump breathing down my neck from the White House?
Yeah, but on the other side of this, Mark, you have congressional Republicans in districts in Wisconsin, where you're from, in Iowa, in Texas, that are tying the Democrats to Mamdani. If you have this optics of the president bear hugging him in the Oval Office, how do you effectively send this message that, you know, Democratic Congressman X in Iowa is going to come and turn your state into a socialist haven?
Well, I think everyone around this table can agree that the sort of the kumbaya moment that we saw in the Oval Office, that might not last throughout the duration of this election cycle. And so Republicans throughout the country, they're still going to be able to find their shots to be able to exemplify Mamdani's policies as something that they don't want their districts to turn into. So I think that, you know, that moment will dissipate and they'll get right back into campaign mode.
I was just going to say real quick, I think we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene really
Yes,
briefly.
I was going to say we're contractually obligated.
I was just going to say really quickly, part of the beef that she was talking about in her exit video, talking about resigning from Congress, was this idea that Donald Trump kind of did not really come true on all the things that he talked about when he talked about America First and the MAGA. And I actually think the conversation we're having here is maybe a little bit what she was getting at, is that you campaign and you talk so negatively about these things that I think that we believe in, and then you actually don't act on that. You go and get crypto money. You go and kiss up to foreign nationals and put American service people in harm's way. And it didn't line up to what Marjorie Taylor Greene's understanding of a MAGA was. And I actually think that the Zohran meeting, it's a very interesting, kind of cross-section of what she's talking about.
All right, Daniela, I'm going to let you have the last word on MTG. Is this sending shockwaves through Capitol Hill? Are people not surprised? I mean, she is somebody who often will make impulsive moves like this. This is the most grand impulsive move. Is she exiting in the stage, or have we not seen the last of Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I don't think we've seen the last of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, it's clear that she plans to be a voice in whether it's the Republican Party, because she hasn't been really sounding like a Republican lately. Even Democrats are trying to find a way to work with her because of how she's taken the stance on the Affordable Care Act subsidies, fighting against Trump, the Epstein files. But it's clear that she's truly trying to be her own, sorry to use this word, maverick voice in this party. And you were not surprised, Ryan. You spoke to a ton of people who were not surprised. I remember your reporting, and I was surprised, but I don't think she's going anywhere.
Okay. All right, quickly, 10 seconds. What do you have for Thanksgiving?
I love mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes? No,
Take out.
I'm told I'm not allowed to talk about it. Stop. Keep that for tomorrow. We're going to be back tomorrow with more Meet the Press Now.